Okay, there's a lot that is going on in our world. And you see, each time we talked about spirituality and divinity.
Yes.
And if you see the way we men are doing things, you get to understand that somebody get to understand that there is a spirit in man.
Okay.
But we mix up the whole thing. So some of us think that because we can do things, the spirit that allowed us to do things is the spirit of God. Let me put it like that.
Okay.
That's what we think is the spirit of God that make us do some of the things we do.
Yes.
So I want someone listening to us to be able to get a clarity of this moment. This spirituality and divinity, how do we really differentiate them? How do we differentiate them?
They are not the same.
Okay.
I will just state it as clearly as that. They are not the same. But the misconception that we have, just the way we try to apply certain words or certain different words to mean the same thing, or we apply certain different words as though they are interchangeable.
Yeah.
That's the same way we have tried to apply divinity and spirituality.
Yeah.
So they are not interchangeable words. There's a reason why there is divinity and there's a reason why there is
Spirituality.
Yeah.
And what we need to understand is that the spirit is the source of everything.
Yes.
Both the one that is known to man and the unknown.
Yeah.
That is the spirit. That spirit is the source of everything. And as a result of that, everything coming from that spirit is spiritual. Everything
Yes.
coming from that source
That's
is
the Lord.
spiritual. That spirit of the Lord,
Yeah. Yeah.
that spirit of creation, everything coming from that source is spiritual.
Yeah.
Be it the human beings you have come to see,
Yeah.
be it even the vehicles, even something you think that has no bearing with him, because we say it's man-made.
Man-made.
As long as the man who you see as the producer of that thing is a product of that source, which is the spirit, even what the man does is spiritual.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even this microphone stand, as we are seeing it, is spiritual.
Yeah.
This table is spiritual because everything is coming from that source of the spirit, even when it's being done by man. Because as you said, when you look at our exhibition, it shows that something drives us.
Yeah.
And once you look at the fact that none of us initiated our existence, it's clear to see that the one who did predicate our existence is involved in our activities.
Yes.
Because you can't just sit down wherever you find yourself and what comes to your head is to go drilling for whatever you have no idea. You have no idea about it. You don't just get up and say you want to go and drill for crude oil. You have no idea what you're drilling for.
Yes.
You just find yourself doing something.
Yes.
And
Moving.
You just get up and you are pushed, you are moved to go and do something.
Yes.
And in the process of that thing you're doing, you get to encounter something.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate part of it is that when we encounter those things, we see ourselves as the one doing those things.
Yeah.
We don't get to see, or we don't get to realize that it's that spirit, that
took us
source
down there.
that has taken us down there. Because how did you get to know that that kind of thing was there?
Yeah.
How did you get to know that? Especially, okay, let's use crude oil in this sense.
Yeah.
How did you get to know that there is crude oil beneath the earth, or in the high sea or whatever? How did you get to know that thing is there? Then you have discovered it. Let's say you have found it out.
Yeah.
Then how did you get to know that by heating it via different temperatures, you get byproducts? You get diesel, you get petrol, you get various kinds of oils.
Yes.
How did you get to know that by doing that, you get all those byproducts? That's because that spirit, that source, is driving us, is manipulating our activities.
Yes.
For our survival.
Yes.
It's all for our survival.
Yes, correct.
Because when you realize that you didn't bring yourself, that means you don't even know what you are meant to do. How you are supposed to, let's say, upkeep, how you are supposed to maintain that false sense of life that we have.
Yes.
We don't know how to maintain it. So it's that spirit that initiates it. If not, let's say we are doing a trial and error or something, and let's say from what we have come to know, or from what we have always believed, which is out of place anyway, that they were just two people who were generated from the first instance.
Yes.
If it was a trial and error process, they would have eaten what they weren't meant to eat, and they would have died off. See what I'm trying to see the picture I'm trying to paint. If it was just you and I, that found ourselves here on the earth.
Yes.
And everything that we have to do to enable our survival or to sustain us are things that we have to figure out for ourselves. The both of us would have been, in quotes, dead.
Yes.
Because we are going to be encountering things we have no idea of. And we have no idea of how to manipulate or go around those things. Let's say you come up against, let's say, a kind of fruit or a kind of plant,
Yes.
and you have no idea that there are certain toxins in that plant.
Yes.
And by eating it or by digesting it, it causes an
Harm.
issue.
Yes.
And I'm gone. You're gone, because we are doing trial and error.
And error, yes.
But when you get to look at the history of man, you get to realize that there was no trial and error involved. And when I say there was no trial and error involved, that's because once the Spirit moved a body to go and do something, he moved the body with the knowledge of what he knows he kept there.
Yes.
Using the body to achieve that thing.
Yes.
So whatever form of innovation that has come after that, what we say is improvement, is still as a result of that Spirit's influence in us.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that makes each and every one of us spiritual, and that is what spirituality is all about.
Correct.
So there is no, because most people say you always like to spiritualize things.
Yes.
There is no such thing as over spiritualizing anything, because everything
Is spiritual.
is the Spirit. Even the one we have come to call physical is the Spirit.
It's
It's the Spirit. That's what we need to understand. So that is what spirituality is all about. Spirituality is man. That's man is spiritual.
Yeah.
So he is functioning under the source of that spirit. So he's spiritual. And in our nature as man, being spiritual, we are flawed. And we get to see it in our activities. We get to see it in everything that we perform. Because even what was seen as a very magnificent invention at the time it began, on the long run, we get to see the effects of it.
Yes.
Today we're talking about climate change. We're talking about various sorts of pollution. But when those factories were initiated,
Yes.
they were seen as innovation. They were seen as improvement, because it looked like it was going to ease the survival of
Humanity, yes.
humanity.
Yes.
When vehicles were produced, it looked like the greatest invention of that time, because it enabled and it's made transportation easier.
Yes.
You could move from one point to another at quicker speeds. There's the car, there's the boat, there's the plane. Even the fastest of them is the plane. And you get to see all those things we are seen as innovation, but the outcome of those things, what they have turned out to cause us, various sorts of pollution and ultimately death, is hidden in those things,
in those
that we are
inventions.
seen as inventions. So
Yes.
it shows the flawed nature of man. Even medicine that is supposed to sustain the human body has the capacity to kill. So it shows the flawed nature of that spiritual state of man.
Yes.
Which is where the whole divinity thing comes in, the divine comes in.
Yes.
Because there's this saying we have said, to err is human, but to forgive is divine. So it shows you that there are two different states. There's no point in which they coexist, because a human, which is that spiritual, has his own function. And
to make sure we keep going a wrong way.
In his characteristics is in him to err. Everything he does has error in it, is flawed. But the divine now comes in as a perfect being. Because he's the one who sees ahead of time. That's what forgiveness is, to forgive in that sense now. So he comes in as the one with the capacity to see ahead
and instruct us
and know what the outcome of every situation is.
Yes.
And give us guide on how to step, how to move in order to avoid the calamities that are ahead of us.
Yes.
And that is what we all need.
Yes.
Because most times when we find ourselves in certain situations, we always say, hindsight, if we had hindsight, because if we could see ahead of time and know that this was going to be the outcome of this thing, I would have avoided it.
Exactly.
That is what the divine is. The divine is that perfect
being
that does not exaggerate.
That does not err. That is who God is.
Somebody, I remember somebody said nobody knows tomorrow. I said, how can you say nobody knows tomorrow?
Yeah.
We have it.
Yes,
It's a phrase, we have it. No one knows tomorrow.
Yes.
It is not supposed to be so.
It's not a normal stuff.
Know tomorrow.
Yes.
Because if there is nobody that knows tomorrow, how are we going to be secure, escape the danger ahead of
us? Yes.
You see, that's where God comes in.
Yeah.
That somebody in the midst of men need to know tomorrow.
Yes.
Need to know everything.
Exactly.
Now, you were talking and you mentioned man-made.
Yes.
And it's very important somebody should understand that word.
Okay.
You put everything as man-made. And we have this in our world when we say it's a man-made thing.
Yeah.
And when we say man-made thing, I used to wonder before, I said, is it that there is something that the male man make? Or because man-made, both the things where the female, the woman make, we still call it man-made.
Yes.
So which means there is what is called man-made. Even though we don't have the insight, it is now that I now come to understand that, man-made, the reason why we keep having that thing man-made is because first, man, like you said, is that spirit that is driving
The
everyone.
affairs of everybody.
Everyone.
Yes.
So everything that we are doing is coming from that man.
spirit, yes.
You see, so it now also points me to something that he said, the glory of the latter house shall be greater than the former house.
Yeah.
And I told somebody, I said, the former house glory is the man in the body. And the latter house glory will now be God also in the body.
Yes.
The spirit of divinity in the body. So you see, that is when we will not have limitation.
Yeah.
Like what you said now,
Yes.
that the divinity is, the divine is the person
Yes.
that have no limitation.
Exactly.
Which is a being, that's somebody that is born in the midst of men.
Yes.
With that perfect spirit.
Exactly.
I don't know.
That is the emphasis there. Because even when you look at it this way, let me throw in something.
Okay.
Because we always say man-made, man-made. And now that you have brought it up, let's just exhaust it a little bit.
Okay.
Yes.
We look at let's say climate change. We look at certain issues we have around the world and we say it's a man-made problem.
Yes.
And when we say it's a man-made problem, what we see or our interpretation of that being a man-made problem means is us as human beings that are causing those issues.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as we have tried to say numerous times, that man isn't this body.
Not the
But
man.
man is the spirit that is driving this body, male and female alike.
Yes.
That is who man is.
Yes.
So a man-made problem is not necessarily a problem caused by these human beings or by human beings,
Yes.
but a problem initiated by that spirit of man through humans
Yes.
to keep us stagnant, to
that
keep
limitation,
us in our current state of suffering. I think that state of suffering is to enable us see what divinity would look like
when he
once
appears.
his hands are initiated or involved in our activities.
Yes, correct.
Because when you say it's a man-made problem, you get to realize that as much as you say it's a man-made problem, that means man too should be able to stop it. But we find it impossible to do so because man's nature, as it is, to err is human. So in our nature is to err.
Yes.
Everything we have to do is full of error, and it's not in our nature to correct things. We can't fix things, which is where the divine comes in.
So that is where we have the problem we keep having in the world today. When we, every time we want to fix things.
Exactly.
And instead of them to be fixed,
they get worse.
That is why it is rightly put, for without me, ye can do
nothing.
Without me, ye can do before nothing. So everything you do as a man,
As long as it is not involved.
as long as the divine is not involved, everything you do is nothing. And that is the first purpose in spirituality, to limit man from accessing the things that are divinely given to God alone to access. Because to forgive is divine.
Yes.
He is the only one to show us that no matter what you have been achieving or pursuing, you can never know what success.
You can never have success.
You can never know good success outside of me.
Yes.
So you are limited from the divine. So As long as you continue in that spirit, and that is why the first phase in spirituality is for man to be aware that it is his personal responsibility to be
out.
ready to deny himself. Because the inspiration that is given to you to go to harness crude oil, you did not know, just like David said, you did not know that there was something called crude oil. You discovered it before now, imagining the name to give to it. And then the name comes to you to call it crude oil. You didn't know when you started that mission. So that inspiration is spiritual. It is given to you for the survival of humanity, but the monopolization of this knowledge is where we have gone wrong. So the Spirit allowed us to monopolize this knowledge and call it intellectual property. But it is time to know that all you have monopolized and claimed, it's time to know that that inspiration is not yours. And you cannot save yourself from that knowledge. You can't use what has been inspired you to save yourself or to bring solution. Look at all the inspiration that is going on in the world, inventions that is going. It was meant to solve humanity's problem, but all of them has
problems
in them. All the inventions, just like David said, the airplane was invented, but I want to talk about the destructive way of giving out knowledge or inspiration
to man.
When the knowledge came on man to invent aircraft, it was beautiful. They celebrated it. It was a good innovation. But behind that invention, the spirit that released that inspiration hides the protective ability. The ability to make sure that that aircraft didn't kill anybody. He hides that knowledge from man and releases the other one of the invention. So that man sees himself so big and sees that he is the one that did it. So that same invention is what is killing us today. To show us that whatever you've invented is what kills you. So be humble enough to be ready to deny yourself and to know that you cannot know what will bring life to you. You cannot know what will give you that internal focus that will actually bring, and that is where divinity comes in.
Still on this invention stuff. That's before we wrap up. I would like to add to it. You get to realize that everything man does has the ability or the capacity to kill him, to end him. And I said to somebody before when we were talking, I said, that is so because we as men are basking in the idea that we killed
Jesus,
the Son of God, and we celebrate it, and we are able to live on up to this point. I said, if you can believe and rejoice and celebrate
and kill God,
that you have the ability, even if it's not you, but man has the ability to kill God,
his creator,
and survive.
Then everything we make,
everything we do should have the capacity of killing us. And we see it. But the fortunate thing, as I said to him, the fortunate thing is this. It never happened. Because the writing is telling you that you killed the Son of God. And I asked you, if the Son of God, as powerful as it was written of him to be, and man had the capacity to kill him, don't forget, there is the one more powerful, who is now the Father, who is God. So do you think that having killed the son of an eternal being, that you go scot-free?
You can't be free.
I said that is I'll say that is just the trick of the divine. That is just the trick of the divine. But I'll put it this way, just to wrap up, that Bible, that book we read, is a divine book. But it's written in a divine, it's written in a spiritual manner. Because the inspiration by which the book came about was given to man who is spiritual. So as man, whatever we see in that book, we can read and as spiritual as we are,
Interpret it our way.
interpret those divine writings in a spiritual way. For instance, let's say you read a divine book. Let me not even go to the divine place. Let's say you're speaking to me and you use the term let's say 3. Let me just say for instance, you just say 3, a 3.
Yes.
But there's what I have. There's an idea I have about what a 3 represents. It could be an oak tree, it could be a regular kind of tree.
Yes.
But you're speaking in a manner that you alone understand. And in English, you say it's a metaphor. You use 3 now to represent something else because you are speaking in a metaphorical term. Yeah. So you use 3. But what I see, not knowing that you are speaking metaphorically, I'm seeing the oak tree. And when I go about trying to interpret what you have said, I'm bound to miss
confuse.
it.
Yes.
I'm bound to confusion because there is what you intended your statement to mean, being that you are speaking metaphorically. That is what the divine and the spiritual is in that sense of our interpretation of that book.
Yes.
As that book is a divine book, and everything written in it has its divine interpretation, and the interpretation is how it's going to be fulfilled. That's what interpretation simply means. Yeah. So, but as man being spiritual, we read the book and we can pick up things due to our nature of spirituality. We can pick up things and define them spiritually, but they would never
fulfill the purpose.
Fulfill that just divine purpose for which they
just like you talk about interpretation. They can pick out things and interpret. And what does that interpretation mean? Talking, explanation. Is that not what we do?
That is what it is. That is why interpretation is not supposed to be talking.
Yeah.
I've said it from the beginning. The problem of human is lack of knowledge. The problem we have is lack of knowledge. And you can't blame anybody. He said, we are here talking about spirituality and divinity. Yeah. It is said that man's going
is not of
himself.
Yes.
How can then man understand how to direct his steps? It is there, even in the book that we are carrying. He said, man's going is not of himself, which means everything we are doing today is not we that are doing it.
Exactly.
It's something that is doing those things in us.
Yes.
We are tools in the hands of that spirit. We even said it. So we want everyone to understand that everything that is happening today, every achievement that we have as man that can end us in life is because, one, we can't get life by the spirit we have as men.
Exactly.
We can only have life when the divine personality comes in, because it is him that understands the interpretation, which is what you are saying, making those things fulfill in our lives. That is where he removed the one that is not supposed to be a part of our life and put the one that's supposed to be a part of our life in the process of the practical work.
Yeah.
So somebody need to understand that divinity is of God, while spirituality is of man.
And everything that man is involved in is spiritual.
I think that should be clear for somebody to understand.
Yes.